The desire to seek justice and have somebody accountable for this. But I did not kill Mr. Byron.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're exploring the politicians who weren't dictators but had a history of terrible violence. We'll be looking at cases that include personal altercations and duels to state-sponsored violence and systemic political repression.
He was sentenced in 2009 to 25 years in jail for ordering the operation of a death squad.
William Byron. With the hereditary title, Byron became the fifth Baron in his family in 1736. In 1743, he joined England's House of Lords. However, in 1765, his life was thrown into disarray when Byron clashed with his cousin and neighbor, William Shaworth. While drinking at a tavern, the duo argued about who had more game on their estates. Then, Byron either challenged Shaworth to a duel or straight up attacked him with a sword, leading to his cousin's death. Nicknamed the Devil Byron and the Wicked Lord, he was tried for murder. However, he was only ever declared guilty of manslaughter, resulting in a small fine. The Byron Baron title was later returned to its former glory when famous poet George took on the mantle. Tony Lecomber. The far-right political group, the British National Party, has often been criticized for its bigoted policies, which the group has attempted to downplay. However, the party did itself no favors with certain higher-up political figures like Lecomber being in its ranks. In 1986, he was convicted for possession of numerous explosives, one of which he was carrying to the office of the Workers' Revolutionary Party. He was sentenced to 3 years in prison. In 1991, as the BNP's propaganda director, he got another 3-year sentence for attacking a Jewish teacher.
He's got 5 convictions for bombs and bomb preparations and for attacking a member of the Jewish community.
In 2006, while working as the BNP's group development officer, Lecomber reportedly spoke to an extremist about assassinating enemies of the party. Surprisingly, he didn't go back to jail, but he was fired.
At his house, the police discovered 10 hand grenades, 2 petrol bombs, detonators and timing devices.
Thomas Lay. In 1925, having spent several years working in politics, Lay was elected to Australia's House of Representatives. However, his win was overshadowed after he allegedly attempted to bribe opponent Frederick MacDonald. It wasn't helped when MacDonald mysteriously vanished in 1926. 2 other critics of Lay also died under suspicious circumstances. This scandal likely contributed to Lay not winning re-election in 1928, so he returned to the country of his birth, England. In 1946, he became convinced that his mistress was having an affair with a man named John Moody. He paid 2 men to kidnap Moody, and then Lay killed him. After being sentenced to death, Lay was declared insane and instead received life imprisonment. He was sent to Broadmoor Hospital and died shortly after. Thomas Francis Meagher. Today, Meagher is seen as an icon in the Republic of Ireland for introducing the country's tricolour flag and being a nationalist against British rule. Yet, even with his important legacy, his life wasn't free of violence.
He wanted to do good for all of the people.
In 1848, he was involved in the Young Ireland Rebellion in Ballingarry, which caused multiple deaths. As a result, Meagher was sentenced to death for sedition. However, public outrage changed the sentence to exile in modern-day Tasmania. In 1952, Meagher escaped and went to the U.S. When the Civil War broke out, he joined the Union and rose up the ranks. In 1865, Meagher was declared the Territorial Secretary of Montana and later the state's acting territorial governor. However, in 1867, he apparently drowned in the Missouri River. John Wilson. Involved in forming Arkansas's first constitution in 1863, Wilson was a vital cog in the state's government. So much so that on top of being in the House of Representatives for Clark County, he had 2 terms as the House's Speaker. However, in 1837, he clashed with fellow Representative Joseph J. Anthony, who, during a policy debate, made a comment that Wilson took offense to. While still in the House's chamber, Wilson fatally stabbed Anthony. As well as being expelled from the government, Wilson was sent to trial. He was convicted of excusable homicide, or what we might call justifiable homicide today, and was released. In 1840, representing Pike County, Wilson was re-elected to Arkansas's House of Representatives. Tui Aukuso and Vitale. After Tulalepa Silali Malilagoe became Samoa's prime minister in 1998, Aukuso and Vitale weren't happy. The duo had both held cabinet roles and had fallen from grace after Vitale was implicated in a corruption scandal. so they planned to assassinate Tuilaepa and several other ministers. Vitale's son Alates fatally shot the Minister of Works, Luagaula Lavoula Camus. He was sentenced to death, but it was soon changed to life imprisonment. In 2000, with Alates testifying against them, Aukuso and Vitale were sentenced to death, which was also commuted to a life sentence. While Aukuso died in 2009, Vitale was controversially pardoned in 2012. Alates was released in 2010, but returned to prison in 2019 after breaking parole. Kuandyk Bishimbayev. Rising rapidly through the government of Kazakhstan, Bishimbayev was declared the country's Minister of National Economy in 2016. However, less than 8 months later, he was dismissed as an investigation into corruption got underway. In 2018, Bishimbayev was sentenced to 10 years, but was released in 2020. However, in 2023, he sent shockwaves through Kazakhstan when he was accused of murdering his wife, Sultanat Nukanova.
She was found unconscious and had died from brain trauma, according to a coroner's report.
In 2024, hundreds of thousands of people tuned in to watch the trial on YouTube. CCTV footage and videos on Bishimbayev's phone showed him attacking Nukanova for hours and questioning her about another man.
44-year-old Bishimbayev was found guilty following a 7-week trial, which included key CCTV video evidence.
Bishimbayev was found guilty and sentenced to 24 years, while his brother, Bakshan Byzanov, got 4 years for his failure to intervene.
In 24 years, he will be 68. It's basically a life sentence.
Alberto Fujimori. In 1990, Fujimori made history by becoming Peru's first president of Japanese descent. He immediately had a job on his hands.
He was the most polarizing leader in Peru's modern history.
The military had planned a coup against former President Alan Garcia, and the country was suffering from economic issues. Yet Fujimori soon took dark measures to establish control. As well as commissioning the anti-communist death squad Grupo Kalina, Fujimori enacted forced sterilization of indigenous people. His presidency seemed to be headed toward a dictatorship when Fujimori left the country in 2000 following allegations of corruption.
Totalmente! Soy inocente!
Interpol then issued an arrest warrant for him for crimes against humanity.
Fujimori fled to Japan before being detained in Chile 5 years later.
After being extradited in 2007, Fujimori was sentenced for several crimes, earning him 44.5 years in jail.
This 8-year jail sentence won't make any difference to the 25-year jail term Fujimori is already serving for corruption.
However, he was pardoned in 2023 before dying in 2024. Alfred Moore Waddell. Having been a part of the Confederacy during the Civil War, Waddell was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives for North Carolina from 1871 to 1879. However, he's best known for being a white supremacist who led the only successful coup in the country to date. In 1898, Waddell brought 2,000 heavily armed white men to Wilmington, North Carolina. The group ransacked black neighborhoods, taking the lives of up to 300 people and displacing thousands as they destroyed property. With the threat of a firearm, Waddell forced Wilmington's elected mayor, Silas Wright, to resign, alongside other officials.
At City Hall, the mayor and board of aldermen were forced out.
Waddell then installed himself as mayor so he could instate racist policies.
Waddell, who once threatened to fill the Cape Fear River with black bodies, was the new mayor of Wilmington.
With no criminal consequences, he held the position until 1906 and died in 1912.
Black political representation in the state was over. It would be 90 years until North Carolina elected its next black Congress member.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into Settings and switch on your notifications. Ershad Shikdar. Rising from poverty to riches and a high position of power, Shikdar's life seemed like an inspiration, but in reality, he was a monster. He rose up the ranks of local government in the late 80s, earning millions, resulting in him being elected commissioner in the Bangladesh city of Khulna. However, in 1999, his reputation came crashing down when he was arrested for the murder of his political rival and Awami League colleague Khalid Hossain. Shikdar's former bodyguard testified that Shikdar had ordered over 59 murders and did 24 himself, taking out any threat to his power. During the trial, Shikdar was convicted of 7 murders, earning him the death penalty. In 2004, after his appeal was rejected, the sentence was carried out. Which of these infamous politicians' stories shocked you? Let us know below.
The names of the perpetrators are on Wilmington school buildings and city parks.